well known that my daughter Abigail is mean in the morning.
Mean. I mean like dictator mean.
Mean.
I mean like squashing a revolution mean.
Yes.
I've made the mistake of calling in the morning to get hello.
Right?
Oh, hello, Aunt Angela. How are you?
Yes.
Dang.
And so my husband commented on it the other day, and he was like, Abigail in the morning, she is awful. And I went, oh, really, Pot? You calling the kettle black? Are you kidding me?
People don't know.
My husband, I was like, I said, it doesn't last as long. You get to a better place faster, but you're the same. And that's where she got it from.
And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of times there's a difference between what I see as somebody without children, parents trying to teach what they're teaching their child, very deliberately saying to them and talking to them about, yet it doesn't always like line up with what they actually do. So like that's a big thing my mother, when I was growing up, said is you do not have the right to take out your mood on the world.
That's right.
And that part of being a responsible, well-intentioned adult or person in this planet is taking care of yourself and being kind to people.
Yeah, you show up right.
No, she said it like this. You don't have the right to inflict your mood on other people. But I heard it.
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. And this is the thing. As a parent, it's very easy to assume that if your child is having behavioral issues, then it's your fault.
And sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. But sometimes, as much as we try, our children may act out in ways that are counter to what we've actually taught them. And I see that all the time, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you have a child that's showing a lot of anger, it might not be that you've shown them that.
Yeah.
Or that you've taught them that. But does that mean that you aren't doing it? You know? Is there something wrong? Is there something you're doing wrong?
Well, joining us on the phone today is clinical psychologist Dr. Romy Mohibian. Hi, welcome to Me Time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So is it the parent's fault if the child is angry?
I think it's important to remember that everyone gets angry. It's a healthy emotion for people of all ages to feel. But if your child is acting out of control with their anger, it could be due to what they're observing around them. So not necessarily parents, but children are likely to display anger in a way that they've learned from the important adults in their lives.
Yes. Yeah.
So really to answer that, you want to ask, am I setting the best example for my child, or are, my family members, the other adults, setting the best example?
Exactly. Well, that's what I had to tell my husband. I was like, you can't be annoyed with a behavior that you have.
Well, you can, but you got to journal that.
You do.
You can. But this is what I want to know. Do you think children Dr. Mohibian, are inherently angry? Or, I've heard a lot of times people say, like, anger is a cover emotion. Like, what do you...
Well, that is true. A lot of times there could be sadness or something else below the anger. But again, like I was saying, everyone is inherently angry, right? It's just that we have to learn how to behave when we're angry. So it's not so much about being angry or not. It's about how do we behave when we're angry.
Right.
And we basically, our beliefs and the way we behave is influenced by how we experience anger around us as children.
Right.
So, if you grow up and anger means violence or yelling, then you can learn that that's what I need to do when I'm angry. Or you learn, hey, anger is really scary, so I'm just going to bury it altogether, which can also be really unhealthy.
Yeah. I think that in terms of me, how I grew up, I would go more, I schism more to the let's not deal with that feeling. But is there an amount of anger for a kid that's excessive? Like, what would you say is excessive that a parent needs to take, pay attention to immediately?
Well, I think if the parent is modeling behaviors that are appropriate and has taught the child ways to express their anger appropriately, but it still seems like the child is completely out of control. Maybe they're violent when they're angry. Maybe they're screaming and yelling until they're turning purple and blue.
Yeah.
That's when you know, okay, maybe my child or the people around my child are in danger, and that's a little excessive.
And, and then what do you do if that's your case?
Well, I think what's really important is, you want to try, first of all, modeling that anger and talking to your child. Anger is telling us that we don't like something that's going on around us, or we don't like something that's happening to us. So what's a way that you can express that so that you can be heard, right? And teaching your child how they can best be heard. And then that way, you will also be able to understand what's making your child angry. But if it's to a point where it really feels like it's out of control, or even the child is saying afterwards when they've calmed down that they have no control in those situations, there could be something going on, and seeking help with a psychologist or a behavioral specialist might be a smart thing to do.
Right. One of the things we were talking about with our producer Brandy here is, what about when kids, as we like to say, show out in public?
Right.
They have a fit in public. How do you,
It feels like people blame the parent instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah, and I think that's natural, but it's also important to remember, there's a lot of things going on. Some kids might be dealing with a developmental disability, so, if they have autism or some other kind of disability, they might not have control over how they express their anger. So we would want to withhold judging those parents when they see them in public, even though it can be a very natural thing to do. But as a parent, if your child's doing that in public, I'd say be calm in public. Again, model a good way to act when you're angry, because you're probably angry if your child's acting like that, and then talk to them once you get home, once they've had a chance to calm down.
Do you have any tips, like when tips that parents can use to help their children deal with anger? Like a way to talk to your kid about how they can deal with feeling angry at the moment they're feeling angry?
Yeah, I think that the number one thing would be first to teach your child how to recognize when they're getting angry. Have them notice what it feels like in their body, and teach them that if their anger is too intense to behave properly, they might need to do something to calm down, like count backwards from 10, walk away from the situation till they've calmed down, or teach them different ways that they can channel the anger. Do something to self-soothe, exercise, whatever it may be. But first, you want to teach that child how to recognize that they're getting there, because if they can recognize that it's building up, then they can stop it earlier on.
Right. Well, when we were talking about being in public just a moment ago, I see oftentimes, a parent trying to get a kid to act right when they're just so overwhelmed in that emotion that
they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
So isn't that the time to kind of go home and maybe just kind of recalibrate?
Kind of go home.
Go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like us, when you're at a level of anger that's, 90 to 100, you can't really do anything very skillful. So the best thing to do in that situation is take a step back, leave the situation, wait till you calm down before you address it.
So tap out.
Yeah.
I call it a tap out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that can be the healthiest thing to do sometimes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like you don't have to sit here and make this kid go through this birthday party, stay at this park, have this experience. This is done for the day.
We're done.
Right. It could be a good learning experience for the child, too, that if you act like this in public, we're leaving.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Levy, for joining us today.
Me Time with Frangela.